Oh, here we go. All right, cool. So, hope everybody's doing well. What we're gonna do with this series of videos is we've been working on uh, using JavaScript to take an array of data and build things with it. So we've been using all the different concepts that we've covered thus far, um, and just seeing how to actually take all these different tools and put them together to build stuff. So what we're going to do here in these lessons, these next couple of videos, is we're going to take this array of objects. This is a bunch of heroes. So I have listed, I think we have 36 different heroes from all the different franchises. Please don't sue us. We're just using this for uh, displaying data. We have no images on there, and we took some liberty in a couple of things, but not too much. Not nothing that like damaged the integrity of the characters that were so wonderfully written, except for Cyclops. I hate him, but no, but no. So we have this array of data that we have here, and for those who are like watching the videos and following along, I posted the link to my repository in the description, so you'll have access to that, so you can get uh, all of the heroes that we have here. So that way you won't have to go and type all these out by yourself because it's nonsense. Or if you want to, you can build your own structure based off what we have and use the heroes that you want to do. It's up to you. So, anyways, like I have 36 heroes in this array. Um, uh, it features their an ID, of course, and the ID is we use the first two letters of the franchise and a number for the ID. The name, so like the I guess government name, if you will, of the character. We also have the alias for each one. We have an array of powers, and this is not exhaustive. So obviously, there's some powers that are missing, but we just have something here. We have the franchise that they're with, what team they're on. Also, this array is not exhaustive. Um, we limited to like 5 different teams. Um, Alignment, which is a boolean, and this just says basically if they're primarily a hero or villain. So if they're a hero, it's true. If a villain, is false. Um, we have an array of rivals. Also, this is not exhaustive. We limited it to 5 rivals. We have species and kept that kind of generic. So like they're human, an alien, mutant, or god. And then we have their first appearance. So something like really simple. Obviously, there's so much more that we can get with it. Like, the creator of the hero, um, their first issue, um, if they're in a TV show or whatever, who played them, and other versions of them. Like there's so much that can be done with this, and the purpose is not to kind of like redo all of that, or to like create our own, but we simply just want to have some data that we can work with so that we can understand how to use these concepts that we've been learning thus far. So this is my app.js file so far, and again, it's pretty lengthy again because I have 36 different heroes, 36 different characters. Also, I have my index.html file, uh, and you see it looks a little bit different from the ones we've been doing from previous videos. In this one, we're using Bootstrap. So I'm not doing a lesson on CSS, so I'm not trying to do any kind of massive styling or anything. I just want to have some kind of layout that that will represent the information. So that's what I have. And in here, you can see that we have an H1 here. Again, I'm just using some little bootstrap here to handle layout. Also have some HTML5 markup. I have some videos about HTML5 markup years ago, but you can check those out. And you see you have a container and a row. And so we're going to use this row here to load all of our data up. So right now, when I start up my server for this is what it looks like currently. This is what we're working with. All right. So cool. So now, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my terminal. I mean, my console rather, so I can utilize this here while I'm building. Refresh. All right, so there we go. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to try to do is I want to load up all of the heroes that I have onto the screen. So the idea is we're going to just load up the data basically by building out cards. You can go to getbootstrap.com and look at the docs on cards and what they do and how they work. But we're going to be essentially doing that in this lesson. So I'm just going to use Bootstrap to build cards out for each one of these characters. I don't have any images. I'm not going to worry about using images. It's just going to be just a card with text on them. And that's basically it. Okay. So the idea that I have in my head is for each card, I have their name and then their alias underneath, and then probably make a UL out of the powers and the rivals. And, maybe in the card footer, maybe have like their first appearance or something like that. That's the idea that I have. So anyways, let's get into that. So again, you can go to my repository and get the HTML as well as the object that we have here. Well, the array of objects that we have here. So what I want to do is I want to start this off by loading up the data, okay? And I'm going to write a function that will well, before I load the data, I want to have a function that will build out the cards, okay? So that's what I want to do first. So first thing we want to do is we want to build cards, okay? And so, yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to use this as a function. So I'm going to say const build cards. And I'm going to, the first time I do this, I'm going to write this very, very specific, if you will. In other words, what I mean is I'm going to be passing in the actual names of the entities that we're using. And then once we have a model there, then I will abstract it and replace the actual name of like the array, like say for instance, heroes or the properties, and then passing in variables that will represent the information that I want to pass in. So const build cards. This is not going to take an argument for right now, but it should later. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to get access to the DOM element, which is going to be the row here, because we want to get access to this first so that we can load stuff in there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const row gets document dot get element by, not create element, we don't want to do that yet. Document dot get element by ID row. Okay. And so what I want to do first, before I do anything, and I already have this in mind, I want to make sure that the row is empty. Okay. So how do I make sure that the row is empty? In other words, making sure that there's nothing currently in the row. So I don't want any content in the row at all. So what I'm going to do to ensure that first is I'm going to say row.inner HTML. I think this should work. It's going to get an empty string. So I'm going to start off by setting my row to be an empty string. And then after I do that, now I can start to actually build out this model that we have. Okay, so we're going to build out the cards in this function. And then another function, we're going to load the cards. Yes. Which now I'm thinking, do I want to have my row? I think I want this row to be outside of build cards for right now. Maybe I'll move it back in later. But I'm going to have row sitting outside of the function. So I am assigning row before the function. So that way it'll be a global variable, which means other functions will have access to it. I think that's what I want to do right now. All right. Okay. So now I'm setting the inner HTML to be an empty string. Okay. And now I want to build out my cards. Okay. So my cards are going to be stored in a column. So what I want to do first is I want to say const call or column. I'll spell it out all the way. Const column is going to get document dot create element, and this is going to be a column. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not going to be a column. It's going to be a div. Right. We're going to create a div here. So const column gets document dot create element div. And then what I want to do next, after I've created this div, is I want to add the class call, COL, because that is a bootstrap class, which is going to handle the layout for this. And we're going to need this in order for this to work. So I'm going to say column.classList.add. So we're adding a class to the column, and it's going to be call. All right. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the card that's going to go inside the column. So it's going to look the same way. I'm going to say const card gets document dot create element, and this is also going to be a div. So create element div. And if you have any questions, like you're wondering like what is a div, going to also be using other elements like P, H2, etc.